What are you at? I don't know if this is working at all. Looks like it's buffering. Give it a moment to see if it will sort itself out. It's got to be some Wi-Fi thing that's a new problem. Don't know where it's come from. It's not even connected here. Are we there? It says it's not receiving enough data. I don't know what that means. I've unplugged that Wi-Fi dealy. Let's see if that makes any difference. Is anybody receiving me? Connect your encoder. Really? You can see me? Can you hear me? Sorry folks, technical issues, technical problems. Okay, so you can see and hear me. Good. Thank you, Astrex and Masika. Just trying to get these technical issues worked out here. Seems like it's leveled out there now. I don't know why it does that. I just unplugged that Wi-Fi booster hub and plugged it back in again, so hopefully that has sorted out the issue. Hopefully that has sorted it out. All right, what do you add, everybody? Welcome back to another whatever the hell this is. Uh, I didn't know what I was going to talk about today, and then I remembered that yesterday was the last day of summer. Now you're confused about that, aren't you? Well, in Newfoundland, yesterday, the end of yesterday, is the last day of summer. We say it's the last day of summer. So I'll just go over to the quiz page here so you can see this. And right now that is the wrong chat there, isn't it? Good evening, Rick. Let's see if that's correct now. Yeah, there we go. There we go. That's right. So I just was saying yesterday we consider the last day of summer, the end of yesterday, shall we say. So it is uh, the first Wednesday in August. Is the Royal St. John's Regatta. The Royal St. John's Regatta is North America's oldest annual sporting event with documented proof of 1816 boat races. There's credible contention that the St. John's Regattas were held even earlier than 1816, likely in the 18th century. The races of 1818 were held on September 22nd in order to coincide with the 57th anniversary of King George III's official coronation on September 22nd, 1761. So the regatta has been going on for a long, long time. And in 96 or so, it got the royal designation, the Royal St. John's Regatta. This year is the 208th recognized one, that as it says there. It's been going on longer than that, but that's the only documentation that they can prove. And it's a regatta, rowing shows. And originally it started, just with like dories and things like that. And they would row. I think the first one was in St. John's Harbor, but then it moved to Kitty Vitty Lake, which I used to live right next to Kitty Vitty Lake. Quidividi. There's two pronunciations of this. Some pronounce it Quidivida. Most, I think, pronounce it Kitty Vitty. And it's the first Wednesday in August. It's observed in most Canadian provinces the first Monday in August. No, it's the first Wednesday in August. It's a very strange holiday. It's a civic holiday, so everybody in St. John's gets the day off work, like your bank holidays. And it's, as far as I know, the only weather dependent holiday in the world. So in the morning, on the first Wednesday of August, the regatta committee gets together and decides whether the regatta is going to go ahead, whether it's too windy, or if the weather's too terrible for the regatta, the boat race, to go ahead. But it's a huge event. Like there's 20, 30, 40,000 people show up to this thing, and it's a huge garden party. There are rides and booths and games and foodies and all kinds of crazy stuff. So I got a bit of footage here of, I was we were talking to the mother-in-law last night, and she was saying that nobody's covering it. There's no live coverage of it. So in all my time, there's been live all-day coverage of the regatta. I'm going to mute this because there isn't any sound on it, just wind and nonsense. There's no so it's usually like 5 boats, and they line up at these buoys here, buoys, I guess you guys call them. We call them buoys. And takes a while for them to get lined up, to get started. And then over here, I don't know, can you see my cursor? Over here in the starter's boathouse, or whatever it's called, there's a guy, the official, who gets them lined up. And there's a guy with a shotgun in here. And he starts the race. He fires off a shot, and that starts the race. And there are many, many, many different events. different ages, and there's a female course and a male course. The men rolled the full length of the pond. The other unusual thing about the regatta is that they turn around and come back. So it's not just a straight race. They have to turn around the boys at the end of the course. They have to turn around. They got to go 180 degrees around the boys and come back. And the women's course is about halfway down the lake, and the men's course is the full length of the lake. So I'll just fast forward a bit here, get to the start. So it takes a while for them to get lined up and for the race to get, each race to get started. There are dozens of races. There they go. They're off. And it's pretty amazing. Let's see. If you've ever tried this, it's really difficult. It's really, really difficult. Doing it yourself is really difficult, but with a crew, it's really difficult to keep in time with everybody else. It's really easy to mess up and get out of time. And when you're in an event like this, it's every microsecond counts. So I'll just go back to the page here. And yeah, so it's a weather-dependent holiday. That's an interesting thing. So in 1901, so it takes about 10 minutes to row the course. And you can see the times here. These are the championship times. The championship race is the last race of the day. And so, like, you know, the winners of the races before race against each other in the championship race. You know, there's an elimination down to the final race. And in 1901, you see here, 1901, the Outer Cove crew rode 9:13.8. And that record stood for 80 years. 80 years. Yeah, pretty amazing. And the Smith-Stockley crew, it was a really big deal that these guys beat it by 1 second. 80 years the record stood. And because it's on an open lake and the weather in Newfoundland can be anything, you know, the wind can be blowing the wrong way. Sometimes you get a tailwind, sometimes you get a headwind. It's really, really weather dependent. So in 1981, the Smith-Stockley crew beat it by 1 second, and the guys from Outer Cove were poisoned and wanted to take the record back, and they did, and they beat it by 10 seconds. Amazing. Like, they trained like devils to beat this record. And I actually owned the lifeboat that they trained in. They didn't train in a rowing shell, as you saw back in the race there. They didn't train in one of these. They trained in a lifeboat, like an old lifeboat, which I ended up with in a movie I worked on. It was used as a set piece prop in a movie we worked on. So good evening, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's and it was up on next to my old shed, and one of the guys came and bought it from me. One of the Outer Cove crew guys, one of these guys here, can't remember his name, but came and bought it back from me. So that was interesting. It's a weather-dependent holiday, very strange. And we say that, so I mean, they haven't even made it round the boys yet. All this time I've been talking here, they haven't even made it to the boys to turn around and go back the other way. So you can't really see the crowds here. You'll start to see them now. There's a lot of people down in this area here, but this is the crowded part of the there's a lot of people here, and just as many, or probably more, here in this section of the lake. All kinds of games, a chance, and things like that. But we say that once the regatta's over, summer's over. That's the saying we have. So you can see they're coming up to, I think that's the ladies' boys there. They'll just blast on past these. So that's the ladies. No, they are making, well, it might be a ladies' team. This must be a ladies' team. So they have to turn around, and as you can see, they got to initiate the turn quite some time before to get around. Those things do not turn on a dime. It's the only regatta in the world where this happens, where they turn around and come back. So I guess those are race officials in those speed boats there in the bottom of the screen. So it's a big deal, you know, like royalty have been to the regatta many times. Oh, what's happened? I guess the drone got shot down. So I don't know if this is the same race. No, it's another race now. Let's see if I can find a men's race of them turning the boys, so you can see the full length of the pond. We call it the pond, and yeah, it's a ladies' team. So talking about the Asterix was talking about having slide rules and things out about this video, which was a bit of fun. And yeah, it's an interesting thing about that photo, isn't it? That the these are unusual rowing shells as well. They're fixed seats. Modern rowing shells, like the ones you see on the Bridgewater Canal here in Sale, they the seats slide, so you can use your legs more to. But these are fixed seats. It's an older style, and they've kept the older style. As I was scrolling through here, I just caught sight of something. You pronounce it boys? Good. That's the way it should be pronounced. And, you know, in Newfoundland, it's boys. I was just noticing this as I was scrolling around, an advert to join the RNC. The RNC is the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary. It's the St. John's Police Force. And they did not dress. This is a very recent dress. Now, recent in the 90s. They were, you know, more like your bobbies that you would see around here back in the day. Like, you know, when did your guys switch over to the fluorescent outfits? Like they got flak jackets on, and up until it was the early 90s, I think, They didn't carry sidearms. They were the only police force in North America that didn't carry sidearms. They do now, unfortunately, in my opinion, unfortunately. Um, Maybe for their own uh, opinion, not unfortunately. Um, yeah, I thought it was a wonderful thing that our police force did not carry sidearms. The only one in North America at the time, and well, they all carry sidearms now. The RCMP always carried sidearms. The RCMP is also in St. John's, but they also have the RNC. I think the RNC has jurisdiction over the RCMP in St. John's, um, and the RCMP is more the rest of the province. I think Corner Brook has a police force as well. I can't remember. Anyway, it's very interesting. They changed this outfit, you know, in the early '90s, I think, and started carrying sidearms. Yeah. So when the regatta's over, summer's over. So yesterday was the last day of summer. Let's see. So it's a great time, and I mentioned it in a video before. Hello, Darren. Uh, I mentioned it in a video before that I just saw. There's a friend of mine. She's just become an MHA recently, a member of the House of Assembly. That's the provincial House of Commons, House of Assembly. It's the provincial government. Interesting, all these adverts here. But it's so sad that there's no live coverage. I don't know what this is. Had to assemble a bed. You were in bed, you mean? Are there any more races here? This is just all adverts. Yeah, it's weird that nobody's done live coverage. This was a big gig for us. We did like the news desk set for the regatta several years in a row. Um, so it was a big deal for us, and it was right next to our house as well. Um, this cemetery here, there's a little field right there, and my house is just right there. That's where I used to live. So the regatta was a big deal for us. It's a big deal anyway, but when you live right next to it, it's a great bit of fun. People parking on, and someone parked in front of my driveway one year. Oh, I was so disgusted. Sure, you're not going nowhere? No, I don't intend to go anywhere. I intend to go to regatta, but what about something happens and I have to get my car out? Why are you arguing with me? You're parked across my driveway. People. People are people. Doesn't matter where you go, there's arseholes everywhere. So this is. No, they're initiating a turn there too. That's a really wide turn there. But they're ahead of the pack, so it looks like there's only 2 boats in this race. Well, let's get to the end here and see if we can find a championship race. So this has got to be the championship race here at the end. There's 1 boat. Why is there 1 boat? Is this some kind of... Oh no, there they are. They're off. That looks like a ladies team as well. Must be the ladies championship. And you can see these guys know what they're doing. Bit of splashing going on. But very coordinated, very well rehearsed teams there. As I said, it's really, I mean, it looks so easy, but I assure you it isn't. I've never actually done this. I've done, you know, like simulated versions of this, and just like with the rest of the crew in time, just getting 1 person in time with the rest of the crew is really difficult. So the guys on the port there are what we call holding water. You see, they're not rowing. They have their oars in the water, which pivots the boat. So only the guys on the starboard side are rowing. So it's crazy. They turn around and come back. And it's a 10-minute race, you know, like that's a long time to be all out rowing. So there you go. That's the Royal St. John's Regatta. So another thing that goes on during the regatta is the night before. As I was saying, it's a weather dependent holiday, so the night before you don't know if you're going to have the next day off. You might have the next day off, you might not. If the weather doesn't cooperate, you will have to go to work. So we play a game called Regatta Roulette. It's an unofficial game, but it's highly recognized. Regatta Roulette. So should I go out drinking tonight? Or will I have to go to work tomorrow? So it's a bit of a a toss of the dice, Russian roulette, regatta roulette, whether you're going to have to go to work the next day. So let's just see this guy here. I'm not too familiar with this guy. He's the weatherman on one of the news stations in St. John's.
Good Tuesday evening from beautiful Toronto. Can't complain about this weather. Weather back home, there's a view right there of Kitty Vitty Lake. Showing it's not too bad right now either, but there is some rain currently on the way in, so if you're heading out to the pre-regatta festivities, that rain is slated to arrive in the metro area, looks like around 8 o'clock or so this evening. Now, speaking of the regatta, tomorrow's the first Wednesday in August. That's when it's supposed to be. But will it? We'll get to that after I thank the sponsor of this evening's forecast, Medicuro. Protecting your business means protecting your people. We make it easy. Main Street Medical Clinic offers professional occupational health services with 6 clinics from St. John's to Pasadena. From drivers. The point of this update is going to be to highlight what the chances are of the regatta going ahead tomorrow. And if I had to kind of guess, if we're going to play regatta roulette, I'd give it about a 70% chance of going ahead tomorrow. The committee will make that choice tomorrow morning, I think around 5 or 5:30, so look out for that. Now, with respect to regatta day's weather, we're going to be watching an area of low pressure swing across the island coming out of Labrador. That low has brought over 80 millimeters of rain to Lab West going back to yesterday, a very atypical track. And because of where this low is going to track, what will happen on the Avalon is that the winds are going to be up in the morning, they're going to slack off through the day as the low approaches, and then pick back up again tomorrow night as the low does depart, so lowering wind speeds. That's good for rowing.
It has, Darren, and Astrex and everybody else who's showed their concern. Yes, it's much better. It's just an annoyance, an absolute annoyance. The face paralysis, it's just weird. It's really weird. The worst of it now is my eye, because I'm not fully blinking, like, because my eyelid is paralyzed, I guess. And that's the worst part of it. So I'm not fully blinking. So my eye is always dry and watery. Watering because I'm not lubricating my entire eye. So my eye is watering, which is a nuisance. Yeah, but it's pretty good. I mean, both corners of my mouth go up, and my eyebrows are almost even when I raise them up. It is still a little messed up, but for the most part, it's back to normal.
Unfortunately, with an area of low pressure comes the chances for rain, and we are going to see a few showers in the morning and a better chance of some steady rain around championship race time tomorrow evening. But when it comes to rowing, rain isn't a big deal. Wind is. And the wind tomorrow, at least to me, in my experience, looks like it's going to be within safe limits for rowing on the pond. Gusts potentially exceeding 30 or 40, but from the south or southwest, which is generally a safe wind for the lake. When it comes to Thursday's weather, it's going to be windier and cooler. Temperatures only in the teens on Thursday versus like 20 degrees on Wednesday. So I'd make the argument that even though the weather is not ideal both days, tomorrow is the better day to hold the longest running sporting event in North America.
It's a little like, what's that movie? It's a new movie. I watched it a few days ago. Can't remember the name of it. About the weather planning leading up to D-Day. The guys, I can't even remember who the star of the show was now. The guy in charge of predicting the weather, which weather prediction was in its infancy, really, back in 1940. It was really in its infancy in those days. There's no satellites, there was no way to predict the weather reliably back then. Interesting thing about weathermen in St. John's, they're highly regarded and highly mocked and highly respected and highly hated. Weathermen, weather people are, yeah, they're celebrities. It's a job. It's one of those jobs that, I mean, you wouldn't think such a thing exists, but it's true. being a weatherman in St. John's is like one of the most highly sought after positions, to be a weather, like a proper weatherman, not like a TV news weatherman, like a proper meteorologist. That's where you want to work because the weather is so interesting and so unpredictable. So it's an interesting job. It's an interesting place to try and predict the weather because it's so unpredictable. You know, if you're predicted, there was a um, Steve Martin movie in the might have been in the 70s or the 80s, late 70s, early 80s. I think it was called L.A. Story, and the premise of the movie was Steve Martin was a weatherman, and you know the weather in L.A. is the same every day. So he pre-recorded all the weather events, and I can't remember, it's so long ago. So he pre-recorded all the weather for the week or the month or whatever, and went on vacation or something, and something weird happened, and like there was a hurricane or something ridiculous, and he's coming on the news every day. It's going to be 98 degrees and blah blah blah, and of course there's a hurricane going on or something crazy. Can't remember, but my point is, in places like L.A., it's a boring job to be a meteorologist in Los Angeles because the weather's always the same. There's nothing to predict. It's going to be 98 degrees and sunny every day. But in St. John's, Newfoundland, you don't know what it's going to be. So it's an interesting job. Oh yes, Rick. I meant to message you. I was away for a week as well, and I was going to live stream. I was in a hotel, and it was just not worth it. I mean, talk about crappy Wi-Fi here in my house. It was really crappy in the hotel, so it was just not worth the torment. So I didn't. I got a complicated, and yes, I can imagine. Yeah, yeah, really. It's a good movie. What is that movie called? Um, I guess we better get on to the quiz. Um, what is that movie? Um, movie about. Anyway, I looked it up. It's a weather prediction for D-Day. There we go. Yeah, it's a new movie. It's called Pressure. It's well worth watching. It's a good movie. Check it out. Probably get a copyright claim on this. So yeah, it's about predicting the weather leading up to D-Day, and that's the he's supposed to be Eisenhower. George of the Jungle, is it? And this guy here, I can't remember his name, but he played Moriarty in those Sherlock Holmes. He's kind of the star of the or the guy, the chief weather predictor guy. He was knighted, the real guy. It's a true story. Well worth watching. Good movie called Pressure. Brand new movie. It's yeah, it's a pretty good movie. I mean, it's not It's not a big D-Day movie. Like they're making it out to be a big D-Day battle movie, which it really isn't. It's a small part of the story. It's all the tension leading up to predicting whether the weather will be conducive to the invasion. It was said Eisenhower was asked at the I can't remember when it was. I think John F. Kennedy asked Eisenhower about D-Day. How come, like why were you so successful? Why was D-Day so successful? And Eisenhower said, we had better weathermen than the Germans. So that was the reason he gave for the success of D-Day. We had better weathermen than the Germans, because there was a very the window for there was a storm coming on June 5th, and it was like, no boy, not going to happen. And there were two guys. Anyway, I can't really ruin it for you. It's a historical drama. Two guys were arguing. One guy was saying go ahead, and the other guy was saying no, there's a storm coming. And are you sure? No, I'm not sure. this is at best a guess, but it's my educated guess that there's going to be a storm and blah blah blah. Anyway, so the storm comes. They call it off. The storm comes, as you all know. You know this part of the story, but then he gets a call from someone in Scotland that the weather has broken, and he predicted that there would be a small window on June 6th to do the invasion. And it was just a prediction, right? And they went ahead with it, and as we know, it all worked out. So let's do our quiz. For the week of August 5th to 11th. I was down in, during which conflict did a U.S. admiral declare, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead? U.S. Civil War 1861 to 65, War of the Pacific 1879 to 84, World War I 1914 1918, World War II 1939 1945. Yeah, we were down in Bristol, and so I got a bunch of footage of that. I went to a bunch of things in Bristol, but I ended up spending a lot of time on the Matthew, which was the replica of the ship that John Cabot sailed over to Newfoundland. So that was Darren says D, A, B, C, D. World War II? I don't think it was. I'll go along with you, but I think it might have been the Civil War. Yeah, it was the Civil War. True of false? The Dutch Republic sold New Holland, now Brazil, for 63 tons of gold to Portugal in 1661. True or false? No idea. I'm just going to guess. True. Who revealed their idea for a World Wide Web on the internet in 1991? Alan Turing, Leonard Kleinrock, Tim Berners-Lee, or John Atanasoff? I think I know who that is. It's not Alan Turing. He was dead in 1991. interesting, interesting little development here today. I was looking for this device, which is a USB hub, which I need to plug the other computer into the computer that I'm streaming from. And I couldn't find it. Yeah, I think it's Tim. Pretty sure it's Tim Berners-Lee. Yeah. How did Prometheus, the world's oldest tree, die this week in 1964 in Nevada, USA? It was poisoned of old age, blew down in a storm. It was accidentally cut down. Um, yeah, so I was looking for this device. It's called a USB hub. I'm sure you've probably seen such things. You can plug a bunch of different devices into one input. And so I need this to plug in all the things I need to watch what you're watching. And I couldn't find it. I can't show you the one I am using, so I grabbed my wife's USB hub, which is from her work, and it's a, professional one. I think I paid less than £5 for this one, and I think the one she has is like, I don't know, close to £100 or something. So I'm using that one at the moment because I couldn't find mine, which obviously I found after, but I wasn't going to disconnect everything. Probably cut down. I think you're probably right. Yes, it was. U.S. President Richard Nixon announced he would do what this week in 1974? Run again for president, resign as president, end U.S. involvement in Vietnam, visit China. Oh boy. I mean, this is when I first became aware of politics, was during Nixon's time. He was big news in my childhood. Run again for president? No, I don't think so. Resign as president? It could be. And see, he did all those things, but I mean, it could be run again for president. He only did one term, didn't he? So it could be any of these, but I think it might be resign. Resign, yeah. Everybody's thinking resign. It is. So 74, yeah. Scottish biologist Alexander Fleming, born this week in 1881, invented what? Polio vaccine, penicillin, insulin, or tuberculosis vaccine? Fleming. Is that insulin? I think it's insulin. Anyway, about the USB hub, I was just noticing penicillin. We'll go with penicillin. It is penicillin. Very good. We were talking about that while we were on holiday, talking about penicillin, and it was because he didn't clean the peach tree dish. He didn't clean the petri dish, and the bacteria. Anyway, that's how he discovered it, because he didn't clean one of the petri dishes or something. Which of these 19th century British poets wrote The Charge of the Light Brigade? Alfred Tennyson, William Wordsworth, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, or John Keats. It's really funny. I've quoted the I've quoted the Charge of the Light Brigade to my wife several times. Yeah, it was Tennyson, and she didn't know what I was talking about. Like I would quote a line from the Charge of the Light Brigade, probably the opening line, um, or that repetitive line, half a league, half a league. Um, and she didn't know what I was talking about. I was like, you didn't learn Charge of the Light Brigade in school? It's different because it's a really different education system in Canada than it is in this country. Like, in this country, there seems to be. Let me read the question. Russian Yuri Malenchenko was the first person to do what in 2003? Marry underwater, marry in Red Square, marry in space, marry while bungee jumping. I don't know the answer to that. No idea. Bungee jumping? No, marry in space. Which U.S. president once joked he'd signed legislation that would outlaw Russia forever? We begin bombing in 5 minutes. What? Which U.S. president once joked he'd signed legislation that would outlaw Russia forever? We begin bombing in 5 minutes. Good God. Donald Trump, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, Ronald Reagan. God, I don't know the answer to that. I mean, anyway, I didn't finish the USB hub story. So I wanted to go to the regatta roulette because I'm just noticing now um, that the color is much better. So it must be the USB hub that's messing up the color, which is not surprising considering my USB hub is a couple of pounds and that one's 100 pounds or whatever. What do we got here? We got one for Trump, one for Reagan. Yeah, probably Reagan. Yeah, Reagan. Which famous European composer completed Eine kleine Nachtmusik, a little serenade, this week in 1787? Franz Schubert, Ludwig van Beethoven, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, or Johann Sebastian Bach? Yeah. Yes, Reagan it was. Um, what was the other story I was telling you? I've forgotten now. I'm just yammering on while you're giving you a chance to catch up to me on the. Yeah, it's definitely Mozart. 8. 8 out of 10. Not bad, guys. Good job. Thanks for all the well wishes. And yes, I did see your comment, Asterix, on the steeple video, and I think you might be right. I'm not certain you're right, but I think you might be right. It's changed so much, but if I go to I'll just see if I can find the photo and put it on screen rather than holding this terrible print that I forgot to take with me. This is the print I made that I forgot to take with me for reference when I was over there the other day. Let's see. I'll just get the video up here so I can put the photo up on screen. And then I have to go make supper. Can I find the photo? Get through this advert here. Go away. This is pretty good. I wonder, are they real? Those knitted animations? I think they might be. They're quite good. If they're real. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So if you look here, I'm going to put this on full screen. If you look here and here, it looks like there's a road going across here. It's either a road going across here, or it's the entrance to houses. Like, is that a gate post there? Or is that Woodbourne Road? I'm not certain. It kind of feels like Woodbourne Road. And this road over here, I only noticed this morning when I was putting that video together that the name of that road has changed. The one across from Woodbourne, which I can't remember the name of now. I say it in the video. It's not a road I know the name of because I never go down that road. But just let me get zoomed in here. Yeah, George Road. So this is Woodbourne. I mean, all this in here where I live, there's nothing in there. This is Woodbourne here. The house, Woodbourne. And the road, Woodbourne. So this road here is George Road, which is not called George Road on the modern maps. Whitehall Road, thank you. The boundary on the old map coincides with the photo. So yeah, it could be, but that's the only objection, and it's not a real objection. It's my only feeling about that. Being the gate posts is that when you look at the photo, there's something here. Now this map is nearly 20 years before the photo. So there could be additional housing here when the photo was taken, which there isn't on this. But it looks like, you know, it looks like there's this in the photo. It just feels like there's a road going across here, you know? This way. Do I zoom out here? Yeah, the gate posts in question are just off camera here. I don't know So that's a pretty good representation, even though it's colorized. You know, it just feels like there's a road across here. You can't really see it in this version, but in the actual photo, so this would be uh, Woodbourne, and 1890, 1897. Oh no, it's only a few years before. I thought it was 1881. 1897. That photo is supposed to be 1900, so it's only a few years before the photo. But again, a lot can change in a few years as far as new houses on a new road. So if it's Brooklyn's house, it doesn't feel like. I mean, you could be right. I have no idea, but it feels like the gate posts are back here to me, and you can sort of see something going across Brooklyn's road here. Complete guess. Might be just lighting or something, but it kind of feels like there's a road here and there's a road here. You know, here and here, which would put that as Lyndon Lee or something. Don't know. Again, all guesses. Yes, I did notice the gardener on the wall. There's lots of funny little things in the picture, isn't there? The Lots of funny little things in the picture. Um, yeah, I'm pretty certain it's the mortuary chapel, but it's so weird. It is so in your face, isn't it? In this photo, and it's hard to imagine that it would be. And I don't know anything about cameras, but there's all different kinds of lenses and shit for cameras that make things look different. Like, it doesn't look like this now, not with my camera. I can't even make it look like this, but it probably still looks like this. Like, when I look at stuff with my eyes, it looks different with my eyes than it does on the camera screen. And that's just lenses that make it look different. You can't see that big rise in the road on my camera, but I don't know anything about camera lenses or anything. Anyway, it's time for me to making the donuts. And yes, you're right. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know anything about, but I guess my lens doesn't try to replicate 35 millimeter or 50 millimeter. I guess it's anyway. I don't know anything about it, so I can't really say. All I know is it doesn't look when you look at gradients, hills, anything with like a gradient in elevation, hills and things do not look as steep on the camera, the iPhone camera, as they do in the real world. Uh, Everything I've shot, like when you shoot hills, especially, it just doesn't translate. It doesn't translate well. You can't really see hills. It could be that too, but I don't think so, Darren. I don't think it's drawn in. I think because it's in. I found a couple of other photos of the same thing, and it was in the. I put them in the reconnaissance video. You can't see the steeple in the other photos, just because of like, was it Rick was just saying about where the camera is? If you just move the camera over to the left a little bit, the steeple's gone, right? And there are ones from the around the same time where you can't see the steeple, and it's only because the camera is just over to the left a bit more. So if you want to see those, they're in the reconnaissance video. And yeah, the hill looks, that gradient elevation looks the same in the other photos. But there's one photo, really weird photo, where the curb is like that high. There's this massive, massive curbs on Brooklands Road. So it must have been an early photo, and the road level got built up or paved or whatever happened. Put down cobblestones or whatever they did, but the curbs are massive, massive high curbs in one of the photos. Anyway, you can have a look at that yourselves if you're interested. Anyway, I'm going to go make the donuts. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks for all the concern about my ailments. I'm well. I'm fine, and yeah, there's. Hopefully I can put something together for Sunday. A lot of footage shot. I've been out gallivanting around the country in Wales and Bristol and all over the place. And yeah, all kinds of footage. So I don't know what kind of video I'm going to put together this week. You'll find out Sunday, hopefully. All right, see you next time.
That wraps up the show. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.